Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Black Hole State podcast. With who are you guys again? I don't remember. What are your names?
Who the hell are you?
Owen.
I'm Liv.
I'm Claudia.
And I'm Jack. I think I said my name before. I don't remember.
Thank you, Michael Johnson.
So, what are we talking about this episode? This is
Currently, episode 2.
2. Yes.
And this is dreams and dream theory.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned it briefly previous episode. We've all had pretty wild dreams that we'd like to discuss and just talk about, like, possibly why we had those dreams. I think sometimes it can ruin the fun to wonder why, but also at the same time it's interesting to analyze why
it
your
could be
brain
comforting.
Yeah, it's comforting because sometimes the dreams are so out there that it's like, why did my brain, where did those visuals even come from that my brain made that happen? But
I guess a few topics that probably we could go over in this. We could do obviously like common dreams, teeth falling out, being chased, like can't run or can't punch. Like those
can
are
we
the
talk
worst.
about sleep paralysis?
I was gonna say
too?
sleep paralysis as well. Yeah, those are some major ones that I feel like a majority of people have experienced.
Yeah, and the thing is, personally, like myself, I haven't really experienced anything weird when it comes to dreams, other than like dreaming something. Like I said, like dreaming something and like later down the line it happening, and at that moment I recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, with sleep paralysis and stuff, I've never really experienced that. So I think hearing these stories and stuff from you guys,
it can go from like mild to waking up and not being able to move for like a few seconds,
or like
to extremes like Dan and Jill's story.
You feel like you can't breathe and like someone like is laying on top of you or something like that, and you can't see anything, or like someone's standing at the end of your bed. Or,
later, I'll get into some stories of our cousins that have the most extreme like sleep paralysis stories, and it's pretty crazy.
It's pretty cute.
I've just had some mild ones, and I'll talk a little bit about them, but like just based mainly around anxiety and like they happened like during college too, so they were most likely purely stress induced.
Makes sense.
I'd fall asleep like naps on the couch and just have an episode, and it would be like the worst thing ever, and I constantly had headaches afterwards. Like immediately afterwards, I would just have really awful headaches.
Huh.
So I don't know if that's just
did
like
it really
like
usually happen to you in college? Because I've never had it happen to me in any time I was in college.
Yeah, definitely they were stress induced. Like
wow.
the only times they did happen were in college, and then I think I had an episode. The last time I had an episode, I had fallen asleep on my bed upstairs.
Were you napping, or is this
napping.
like going to bed?
Yeah, I napped briefly because my friend had fallen asleep, and I was like, I'm gonna take a nap too because it's we're tired. So I went upstairs and napped too, and I had an episode. I remember saying their name, trying to get them to come help me because I couldn't move, and I kept blinking rapidly, and I just couldn't move, and like my limbs felt like they were like removing themselves from me, and I was just like, and I was like panting and trying to say the name, but I could barely move my lips. So like stuff like that,
That's the
But they've
worst.
only happened like in college scenarios, and I genuinely think they're stress based, which is awful.
The last time that I had sleep paralysis, I think it was junior year of high school, because I remember learning about it because I was in a psychology class, and the first day we were talking about it, I had it that night, and I woke up like not being able to move, and usually I would have been like terrified and like really scared, but just learning about it that day, I was like, oh, I know what this is. I just have to sit for like a couple minutes and it'll go away. And that was the biggest factor in helping now like calm down after having it, is knowing what it was.
Yeah, I think it's weird though for me, in the experiences I've had with sleep paralysis specifically. My episodes have been so similar each time. Like, I'll just go into it since we're talking about it now. My episodes, the first one I ever had was, I think, my sophomore year in college. I'm going to be a senior, for context. But I took a nap on my couch in our dorm, and it was a brief nap, and then I remember trying to wake up. Like, I was conscious that I was trying to wake up, and it sounded like there were maybe 50 people in our room just talking, like a small party, like talking at a normal volume. My first instinct was to get up, and I couldn't get up, so I couldn't move. That's like obviously the first thing is you're like, fuck, I can't move. And then I start blinking really fast. Like, I'm trying to open my eyes and I can't. So every time I try to open, they close. So I was, like, blinking rapidly.
Your eyes
and I
like
hated
roll
that.
back
Yeah,
and
it
you're
might as well be a
trying.
seizure or something, to be
Yeah.
honest. The way it feels. I don't think I've ever had a seizure, but that's what it feels like. Is like just rapid eye movement. Feels like there were a million people in there, but I couldn't see anyone's faces. I couldn't look up past like a certain level. So I felt like there were bodies all around me. I felt that claustrophobic feeling of there were people in the room.
Did
But
you
I
see
couldn't look
things
up.
or just hear things?
I just heard things, and my eyes were blinking so fast I couldn't make anything out. And I was
Okay.
like, there's people, and I just remember saying it. And I remember trying to talk, too, to get someone's attention, but I couldn't. I just couldn't open my mouth. And I grind my teeth really bad when I sleep. So I remember clenching my jaw so hard that, like, my mouth hurt when I finally did wake up. So I
Jeez.
genuinely think that my episodes that I've had are genuinely stress-based. And it's just, like, my brain going, here's the culmination of everything that stresses you out in one scenario. And, like, making that episode happen. And thankfully, it's only happened to me 4 times. And the last one that happened was, like, in September of last year. So I think that's pretty good that I haven't had one in that long of a time. But yeah, just like wild things like that. But I've heard people have way worse scenarios where they see shit.
Oh, yeah.
My
And
cousin,
I've never had that, thankfully.
our cousin, who, it's him and his wife, and they live up in Columbus. And his wife has, her name is Jill, she has she used to have crazy sleep paralysis. And he's had it a few times, but there was this one that he had that was one of the milder stories that they had, where he was laying in bed and he could see out of the crack in their door, and he saw like a huge like knight, like a black and armored knight with like smoke coming out of like the face plates or something like that. And every time he'd close his eyes and he'd wake up again, and it would be closer and closer and closer every time, and he couldn't like do anything about it, and he knew that it was like coming to get him. And every time he'd like close his eyes and wake up, he'd still be in sleep paralysis, but it would just be closer.
That's awful.
Yeah. And there was another one that he had where have you ever seen the movie Gravity?
Mm-hmm.
I need to see it, honestly.
Okay. It was kind of like that, where he woke up and he like, bless you,
Thank you.
and he would sleep. They would sleep with the fan, so he would wake up, and he was like obviously couldn't move, and he heard the fan, and it was like and the sound of the fan slowly turned into a
Oh, dang.
and he saw himself flipping farther and farther away from the earth,
Whoa.
like he was in space, like flying out. Yeah,
And that's a stressful scenario in itself.
that would be crazy.
Oh, you know, there was a really good episode of Love, Death, and Robots based around that. You know what
I
I'm
have
talking
not
about?
seen
I've
that
heard of
yet.
it.
She like cuts off her arm.
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, the episode. That's a really good show if you guys want to watch it at some
I've
point.
heard.
It's fantastic. There's a short similar to Gravity where an astronaut gets launched away from a thing and she panics, and in a moment of like fear, she like, you know how your limbs freeze in space and stuff. If you take off your gloves, like it just freezes instantly because it's so cold.
Yeah.
She took off her glove and froze her arm so she could cut it off to use it as a catapult to catapult herself back towards the ship.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it was like, and
That's
those episodes are
wild.
like 15 minutes. So
I've
yeah,
been told to watch those.
it's so good, dude. They're so good. But that's a really good episode, and like, I didn't want to like spoil it. Sorry if you're into Love, Death, and Robots and wanted to watch that, but it's a good episode. But yeah, man, like,
I definitely recommend watch Gravity too. That was
yeah, no, I need to
So
watch
good.
it. I don't know
So
why I
good.
haven't yet.
I saw it for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've heard great things about that movie.
Interstellar's a better one.
I think
Interstellar?
Interstellar and Gravity have different plots.
I think
Yeah.
Gravity is more realistic.
Oh, Interstellar's like out there.
Yeah,
gotta
I was gonna
find
say it's not science fiction. Like
Yeah.
the Gravity is like
Mhm.
very like.
I just remember those 2 space movies coming out at the
Two
exact
space-
same
Yeah.
time.
Well, there was
Yeah.
The Martian, Interstellar, and Gravity that all
Yeah.
came out around the same time. All good movies, all very
Yeah,
different.
Martian came out a little after.
Yeah, I think a little after.
Whoa.
Interstellar's probably my favorite out of those. two, though.
Interstellar.
Really?
So
That was my
good.
least
Interstellar
favorite.
is incredible. I
That was my least
didn't
favorite.
like it the first time I watched it. Like most of Christopher Nolan's films, I didn't like it the first time I watched it, and then the next two. That's a Christopher Nolan, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
no.
what I thought.
Who was in Martian. That was
Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon.
Matt Damon.
That was a great movie.
With hair.
Matt Damon.
Fat, bald,
Matt
naked. Did you know that Matt Damon started the horse girl epidemic?
The what?
I'm sorry.
He voices Spirit.
Fucking.
What?
Exactly.
No.
I didn't know
you're
that.
joking.
No, I am dead serious, Claudia.
That is like a sleep paralysis thing, isn't it?
What is it?
What?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, bald naked Matt
I
Damon
would be
standing in your
I'd be
bed.
afraid. I'd be like, hey, Matt.
I like how that's the first thing I've said in like
Can you
10
imagine
minutes.
seeing that standing in the corner?
Just
of
a bald naked man. Be like,
But
is
Matt
that Matt Damon?
That's Matt Damon.
He's here to save me. He's here to take me to heaven.
He's real
with him.
tiny. Like, he's standing on your chest.
He's
You're
here
like,
to-
Matt Damon.
He's here to give me a love fuck. Oh my god.
A true
my time
love
has come.
fuck.
Imagine
Check out our episode solely dedicated to the movie Downside.
Imagine
Yeah.
if-
Solely
when it happens,
dedicated.
yeah.
Imagine
Absolutely.
if you had sleep paralysis, but it was like just an ant. Like the size of a regular ant just on
We
you.
just talked
And
about
you're just like,
sleep paralysis for like 2 minutes. Do you know what we're talking about?
What?
What are you talking about?
An ant? I'm so a
I'm
sleeping
trying to
ant?
relate, but I don't have any sleep paralysis or like bad dream stories, so I just thought
You
about.
probably had wild dream stories.
Yeah, but I don't
though, right?
remember any of my dreams.
Okay, nobody.
We'll jog your memory.
There are some people that, like, everybody like believes me about my spider dream.
Oh,
But
fuck.
People are like,
yeah, let's
you.
just go around the circle.
They're like, you actually dreamt it. And I was like,
That
I
story fucks me
know
up.
I was awake. I know I was awake for that.
What is the spider
Tell
dream?
that story.
You know the spider story?
I think so, but I need you to remind me.
So I was very young, like 4 or 5, and my bed faced my bedroom door, which was right next to my closet, and they were sliding doors. And I remember laying in bed, like my door was open, but my closet doors were closed. And I remember looking at the closet doors, and it started to slide open. And 4 or 5-year-old me was like, the fuck is that? So I'm like frozen, like staring at it. And then this is where people just like totally like stop listening. I saw a big ass, like hairy spider arm come out and pull the door fully open. Like man-sized
like
hand.
Monsters Inc. style.
Yeah, it's like Monster Inc. style, real ass.
Give me that child, Sully!
Pretty much. But the thing about it, it was red, black, and gray. And I couldn't focus on it. It was just like a mess of like colors, like blurred together, like constant. It was like TV static almost. But I thought it was a spider because it had multiple like limbs, and so I was like, that's a spider. And so I like put my head under my covers, and I'm like waiting, and covers get ripped off of me. I picked up, ran out of my room.
Oh, I do know about this
and
story.
thrown into the corner by the.
You didn't tell me it was a
closet.
spider, but you told me about
Yeah,
the fact that it was like
something in my room.
that grabbed you.
Yeah, and so it runs me into like the old hallway that we had was like long and thin, and at the very end of this hallway was a linen closet, and it put me in the linen closet and ran back into my room. Luckily, the linen closet was right next to my parents' room, so I just obviously run in there like screaming and crying. There's like someone in my room, something just like threw me into the hallway, like blah blah blah. Searched the house, nobody was there, everything was fine.
But
What?
I remember the butt.
The little hole, there was
Yeah.
a little, like
An attic.
an
door
attic,
almost,
there was
yeah.
an attic entrance in my closet. On the ceiling. Like a little, like a door that you could push up and go in. But it was kind of small. So.
I've never.
From
From that
Jesus
story, I never
Christ.
forgot it, and it always stuck with me to the point where I talked about it with my psychology teacher. I was like, "Hey, my friend had this happen," and my psychology teacher, she's pretty smart. Her response troubled me.
That it was a person?
No. She was like, "Yeah, I mean, that could have been a person, but like something like yeah, she that might not have happened. Like she could have sleepwalked, but that doesn't explain like the opening in her closet door and how it was open."
Yeah.
And then she and I talked to her about it, and then her response was like, "That's not normal."
Thanks!
Well, no. I mean, I feel like that would like if anything, that adds more like validity.
And people are like, okay, well, one, if it was sleep paralysis, there's no way I would have been able to go into the
Exactly.
to the
You
hallway.
wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah, so that's out of the question.
So it's not sleep paralysis.
It might have been her.
I feel like the most likely realistic answer is sleepwalking.
Yeah.
But even then, like, that's so bizarre that you would run yourself out there, open the linen closet, and then walk in and wake up and be like, "Where?"
Here's what I think. Here's what I think it was. Because obviously spiders aren't real.
Spiders aren't real at all.
Well, I beg to differ.
Oh, yes, Liv.
Oh, yeah, no. She knows more about
company.
spiders than anyone, like, the past couple weeks. But no, I think it was a night terror. I think it could have been a person that did that, but since it was like, what, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you imagine it to be much scarier. But
That's
like something had to have happened.
Because, okay, if I was sleepwalking, yeah, but I guess, are people, I don't know a whole lot about sleepwalking, are people, like, aware of what they're doing when they're sleepwalking?
It depends. It really depends.
So,
I've heard different stories.
Sleep paralysis is, like, out of the question.
Yes.
Couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Could it have been something that my mind couldn't, like, it was person, but my mind made it into something else, which is the scarier option.
Yeah, that is.
That it was a person.
I think both of it freaks me out regardless.
Thing is, our front door was locked, there was nobody, like, my parents checked the house.
That's the thing that's scary, and that's the thing that's scary is that they found the fucking attic door open.
There was, like, nothing.
Closet.
I don't know if it was
like,
always open or if it was, like, if the latch was even there, because my cats used to get into the attic all the time. So it could have been open.
So this is also something interesting. It kind of goes down the sci-fi route a little bit, but I forget what they're called, but like when I was
small door.
No, when I was doing some research for like a story I was writing, there are like instances, or this is like one of those like crazy sci-fi theories or something that someone took from a TV show. I don't know. I just read it and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Does anyone want the last?
It applies. No, thank you. It applies to your thing. There are instances where something happens. So matter can't be created or destroyed. Let's live on that rule. There's instances where, like, parallel universes that are running next to each other that are somewhat similar, their, like, realities kind of shift. So, in Claudia's world, in a parallel universe, maybe your house was on fire. And they were trying to save you. But that reality shifts, so the wrong Claudia was grabbed.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's like, I forget what it's called. If someone wants to like send that or whatever, or put it in our comments or whatever, and let me know what that's called, I can't remember, but I thought that was interesting and you made me think about that. Because that's a more innocent and it makes more sense kind of answer if that was a different reality and the reality shifted in that moment.
That also doesn't explain though why it came out of her closet and did a whole fucking like hook someone off the comedy stage with thing to the door.
Maybe it was stuck. House was falling apart.
There was another thing that, like, again, kind of like far out of like, but I listened to a ton of like conspiracies, blah blah blah, and like alien stuff, right? Yeah. I've heard a ton of stories about people seeing giant bugs, as aliens. Like they're like, oh, I saw a giant grasshopper, I saw a giant praying mantis. I'm like, okay, there could be a giant spider, blah blah blah.
Yeah, maybe some. My mind, when you went to that, because it's such a random act, because my thought goes, well, maybe it wanted the room to itself, or because it didn't harm you, it just picked you up and put you somewhere else.
Yeah.
It sounds like almost it was trying to protect you. Whatever it was trying to somehow protect you in the only way it understood.
Was getting me out. Which
makes it not less scary, but what was the threat in your bedroom is what is weird. That it was protecting you from.
That's
the scariest shit is the shit you can't see.
Because demonize whatever this thing is, but like it doesn't. It's not a harmful thing what it did to you. It's creepy as fuck what it did to you, but it's innocent.
It put me right by my parents' bedroom.
Yeah, it was. I think it had an instinct of trying to like. I'm changing your mind about your.
The thing is, spiders are also mother figures.
Yeah, I mean. Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, I was
if you want to think about spiders and the least nastiest thing ever, like I think of Charlotte when I think of like a motherly spider figure.
That gave me like chills.
Here's the fucking thing: regardless of how like disgusting some spiders look, Most of them ain't doing nothing wrong.
No, spiders are innocent creatures.
I hate when people
They
just
scare the hell out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
no, just stay, don't touch me, or I will accidentally harm you and then feel really bad. But
yeah, and then the other part that was confusing is that I couldn't I guessed it was a spider because my mind couldn't I couldn't focus on it. Like I said, it was just moving colors. So that's also what was that? It wasn't solid physical.
Yeah, that mind boggles me because when you were telling that story, I was like, that's creepy. But then I went, but why?
Why was
if
it like that?
If it wanted to harm you, why did it just?
And
take
then people
you
are like, oh,
push
if
you
it
to
was a dream,
it took you to safety, basically.
People are like, oh, if it was a dream, I'm like, well, if I dreamt, if I actually dreamt it, why wouldn't my 4-year-old mind dream of what a spider actually looks like?
Yeah.
And every kid's like, oh, I'm scared of spiders. Yeah, you're just scared of things like hairy legs and 8 eyes. No eyes, just ton of colors and a ton of legs, is what I saw.
No, that's interesting. And my sci-fi theory is just a fun thing that I thought fit into your thing. But I think if we're thinking that your dream is kind of a weird bend between reality and what you dreamt up, what's still bugging me is why did it do what it do?
Why did it
do that?
It did what it did.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think it was trying to protect you.
I never thought of it.
But that's the weirder part is what the fuck was it trying to protect you from?
Or what did it not want me to see?
Yeah. Or what was it like? Yeah, she needs to leave for the time being.
Because I was awake at a time when I was supposed to be asleep.
Yeah, maybe it was just I don't know, maybe it was doing something. Maybe there's there in your old room there was some little portal thing or something that I had to access, and it was oh shit, she's awake. Moves her out to her room, she starts screaming, I gotta be quick, runs back up before your parents enter.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
that explains why you never saw it again either.
Yeah, and my parents,
because it was fuck, she knows.
I asked them about this recently, and they're like, yeah, we searched and they remember it and everything, and they're like, no, nothing, there was nothing there.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is kids are obviously gonna make things up and be a little bit more melodramatic, but also, when a kid's fucking scared of something.
Yeah.
Just like animals too, I feel like kids and
are
animals, you know that something's happened based off of their reaction.
Real reactions.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings up something that I'm just not thinking about. So you brought up animals.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up parallel dimensions, kind of coinciding. You know how fucking Wiley and Willow just look at shit?
Yeah.
For some reason, and
they're
yeah, but what if, talking about the parallel dimension thing, what if they see something that we don't? What if it's
well, they say that kids and animals can see paranormal stuff, and then as they get older, then kids stop seeing it.
And that's what it's based off of, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's a good point.
So I mean, I don't know, maybe it's. I like the parallel dimension idea. And, I always I'll be they look I'll be sitting down, home alone, watching TV, and I'll look at Wiley, and he's staring into a corner, scared shitless. And I look around, there's nothing there. And it always makes me think, what the fuck does he see that I don't?
Yeah, I've seen Willow bristle at nothing. And I was just dude, what are you looking at? And it just freaked me out, because, she looked genuinely scared, and her eyes were, black, and I was like, what? And, you could take it as just, oh, did, a hair fall weird next to her, and it freaked her out, and she's like, or does she see some weird shit,
And that's the funny, it's my cats are so lazy that they don't care about anything ever, so I never experienced anything like that. My cat, there was literally a spider crawled next to my cat, and he looked at it and just walked away.
So if your cat
he does not care.
If your cat freaked out, it would be
it'd be serious.
What is wrong with my cat?
And the only time that he gets weird is when a stranger shows up at the house. He hides. Other than that, he's the most mellow cat. He's never done anything weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
keep having these epiphanies.
Oh yeah, what's your epiphany?
Okay. It is a really long shot.
Go ahead.
You remember that one time we were all at your house?
Fuck.
Oh.
And you locked the doors?
No.
The door was locked up there?
Oh, my eyes are watering.
What if that was Spider Guy?
Oh.
Fuck, man.
Fuck. That was why I just stood at the end of the island, and you guys were just talking and laughing, and I was just
for
like,
people. Oh wait, hold on. Start over for people who are listening. Start over with the story.
This isn't a dream, but this is just.
This isn't a dream, but this is something that happened.
This was real.
A few years ago. For a couple years ago.
Be safe, children.
Yeah, and so my parents were like, okay, we're going. They went out of town for the night, or they went somewhere. They're going to be gone late, and so it was me, Jack, Lou Owen, and that was it. Was it just us?
Yeah, that was it.
And
no other Owen was there.
No, he wasn't.
Was my Owen there?
No,
yeah, I remember. Sure. I remember he was there.
So this must have been.
Sure.
This
he was there.
Was
yeah.
he there?
Yeah.
What did we give him then? Okay,
give
so
him?
anyway. So we are all like, we're just hanging out at my house downstairs. My parents had left like an hour or two, like earlier, and I remember being upstairs, like using the restroom, and the bathroom upstairs, you can either enter it from the hallway or you can enter it from my parents' bedroom. So there's 2 doors to get in, and I remember one door being opened, and because I remember looking in and seeing my cat on my mom's bed. And I was like, oh, he's so cute, blah, blah, blah. So I go downstairs, we order the pizza, we're hanging out around the island for a couple hours, just talking. And I go upstairs to go to the bathroom, and the opposite door is closed, and it's locked. And I'm like, okay, that's the door that I looked in and saw my cat. And now it's closed and locked. So I internally shit myself and walked downstairs very slowly and calm and quiet.
And didn't say anything for an hour.
For an hour. And I remember just being like, hey guys,
what was so funny about this, Claudia, and it wasn't funny, it was scary as shit. What was so funny is you were in mid-conversation, and then all of a sudden you segued into, guys,
Yeah, that's right.
and I'll let you
I was
continue.
like, the door upstairs wasn't locked.
And you were speaking so fast, too.
Was I?
You were like, the door upstairs was locked, and no one is home. I don't know how it happened, and
I'm like, the
I
door
think
wasn't
in the house,
and now
we
it's
were like,
locked.
And we thought you were joking.
Yeah,
We were like, huh?
And I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you were.
You guys
you were
just
like, I'm
looked-
fucking serious, and we were like,
That's when we got the swords.
Yeah.
No. You guys think we're joking. We went into her dad's office, each grabbed a real life fucking cutlass.
A sword.
A sword. Like a knight, like King Arthur Excalibur.
Sword.
I remember walking to your office too, because I was like, what the fuck? Like, are we serious right now?
Yeah.
Because
You guys had.
like, are you serious?
You guys had knives and.
Well, here's the thing. Like, none of us really thought you were serious until you went and got a sword.
That's when you know someone's in the house is when they get a sword.
No, because it was like you were like.
Because all of my dad's guns were
Yeah.
in the room that was locked.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was the issue. I was like, yeah, there's like 4 guns in there, and the room is locked. I thought about. I couldn't find. I went into my closet to get my brother's old pellet gun. The sniper pellet gun.
Yeah, because they can look fake or they can look real.
And they can fuck you up too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Those boys busting
couldn't find it anywhere. So it wasn't in my closet, so I was like, we getting swords now. That was so scary.
Yeah,
So,
no, I hated
I
that.
bring that up
That
because
was terrifying, dude.
Oh my god.
But yeah, your epiphany.
what if it was doing the same? So what if it was Spider Guy? What if it was in that room doing the same thing? The whole like that it didn't want you to see.
So you think it's like a guardian angel kind of thing?
Maybe it is
Well,
your
not a guardian angel. I don't know necessarily about like. Well, what if it's just been following you?
Don't say that.
Well,
No. We're not
It's
following.
not an innocent thing at
He's
this
gonna
point.
bring him into my house.
Yeah. But
We're
no,
not
but
bringing one-
I mean the conclusion of that story also, by the way, is there was nothing.
There was nothing. Yeah,
But
we
it was-
unlocked the door
Yeah.
and
We went through every room in the house.
went there, turned
Yeah.
on every light.
We turned
called
on
my
every
parents.
goddamn light and called her parents because we were that freaked out by it.
It was that like, because the only way that I could have seen my cat in that, because the bed is when you walk past the first door, you can see the bed. The second door in the bathroom, you can't see the bed. And I remember looking at my cat sitting on my parents' bed. So the only way I would have seen it is looking through that door.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Liv from the Black Hole State podcast. I'd like to interrupt the podcast for just one moment to talk to you about one of our sponsors. Have you ever wanted to make a podcast, but it seems a little bit too intimidating? You think you don't have the right recording equipment, you don't have the right programs, and you don't know where to start or how to get an audience? Anchor is the place for you and the easiest way to make your podcast. Anchor gives you everything you could need in one place on one platform, and here's the selling point for you. It's free. And you could use it from your phone and your computer. It's compatible, it's convenient. Their creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast on their platform so it sounds great. And let me repeat the phrase, convenience. And this is the best part. They'll distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so many more. Seriously, guys, Anchor is the best parent platform you could ask for. They're one of the reasons that we're getting such a great outreach and getting so many listeners from so many different platforms. Anchor cares about their creators and wants you to get the audience you deserve and get your voice out there. This way, you can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So, with all of that being said, I hope you'll check out Anchor, download the Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Whew,
That's wild.
that was so
I
fucking
just
then we
scary.
get
I just
into the-
remember like the fear of like
I
putting
just
my
went
hand on that door
cold.
handle.
No, oh my god, Jack was the one to do it too.
Mhm.
Fucking.
And I
Yeah,
remember
I
when
think
we
we
went
had,
in
like,
there,
Electricity.
Because I was
and
like-
it was
I was
there was
still
nothing.
half confused, to be honest with you, when we were doing this. I'm like, are we actually doing this right now?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Like,
Is
I
this
was
a
still
bit?
kind of like,
That
yeah, I
was
was
so
like,
It's like,
is
no,
she
like-
serious? I thought we were gonna
like-
open the door. Part of me was like, she's joking, like it's gonna be a big joke. But your face was so like, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
When you said I'm fucking serious, I was like,
You've only seen me in a situation like that one other time, and that was in the parking lot of Kroger.
fuck.
When
Oh.
those dudes
I
came up
remember-
to our
you
car
told us about
and he
that.
held like the door open, and he's like, "You think we're cute?" And
Yeah,
it
that
was
shit was
like
scary.
midnight,
I hated that.
and
then my side was locked.
I
Yeah,
unlocked the
that's
car and I
And
only
she was
clicked
so
it once.
yeah, she was so scared that she didn't even think about it. So when she got in, I was still outside, and I was like,
And I just look over and she's like knocking on the glass real fast, like eyes
real
wide,
quiet, real
open, like,
quiet, like trying to make it so they didn't hear me. I was just like, this is the only
And
thing.
he's like, "You think we're cute? What do you think about us?" And he's like, "Well, they said that we're ugly." And we look down the parking lot, and there's like two girls quick walking away, and they had just come out of a bar right next to Kroger.
Yeah.
And that was probably the only other time you see me that
Yeah.
seriously scared, because you said that they asked, and you think I'm cute, and you said that I was like, yeah.
Yeah, your voice got high pitched, and then when you're also nervous, you speak really quick too. Because like I was saying, I won't go over it again, but like I was saying, you were in mid conversation about something totally unrelated, and then immediately went, guys, I can't. There's something upstairs, and you were just to the
It was
point where you
so
were like,
real. It was
what?
It like took us a minute too.
Yeah,
we
no,
were
it
like,
totally-
we were still talking. You
It
were like,
got quiet. I remember being
Yeah,
like,
I
no,
remember the quiet.
silence happened,
That
and we were
was-
just like,
and
The
you were
silence
like,
was
"Are you
like
serious?"
so. The silence
Yeah.
was like.
deafening.
we
The
were all
silence was
kind of
loud as
talking.
shit. It was
We were all
The
weird.
kind of
silence was loud.
It
That's
was
a
so
good
we
way.
were
to
all
So
kind of
weird.
talking like when you said it. Still, like we were like,
mumbling and
and
like
we were like,
talking
and
to
then
each
it
other.
like slowly died out, and one of us was like, "Wait, what'd you say?"
yeah.
Oh my god.
I have something lighthearted, dream related to take us off that for a minute.
Yeah.
That was funny.
18
So-
naked cowboys.
Talking in dreams, talking in sleep. Do you remember when I tried having a conversation with you, Claudia?
That was, and I was on the phone with Eggs. That was hysterical. Because
I'll let you
I
tell
was,
it.
okay, I was on Skype with Eggs, 5 in the morning. That was the night I had those hallucinations.
Oh my god, because you didn't drink
Oh.
water.
For
I was
those,
super
of you who
dehydrated.
don't know, Eggs is a friend of
He's
ours.
a friend from England, and Liv and
God, I
I
miss him.
would talk
I'm sad he's
with him
dead.
every night till like 5 in the morning, like all the time. So,
He's gonna be missed, man. I miss
so
him.
I was asleep, and Liv was talking to Eggs. About 2 or 3 in the morning, I woke up, talked to Eggs, and
I
Liv
fell
went to
asleep.
fell asleep. Yeah, Liv
Yeah.
fell asleep, and I hear, oh my god, what did you say? I hear, yeah, but I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And I started to like chuckle, and then Eggs was like, what did she say? And so I repeated. I said, but I feel bad about it. And so Liv kept on like talking, and I was repeating what Liv was saying. And then Liv wakes up.
I don't remember what I said any further.
And she was like, I had the weirdest dream. And I was like, what'd you dream about? She's like, I had a dream that you were repeating everything that I was saying. I was like, that's because I was. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
It was so great. It was so funny.
That was just a weird experience, and also we laughed about it forever.
That was a crazy night. And then
it was a long night. It never ended, dude.
It never. And then I saw the orange TV and the bubbles. And
what?
The boots.
Claudia didn't drink
super
any
dehydrated
water for a long time and hallucinated because of how dehydrated she was. I had to like force feed her water.
I remember I couldn't even stand.
Yeah.
My whole bottom half of my body was like tingly.
Yeah.
I was like hyperventilating, and I look over at how Lynn has all the shelves on the side of her wall. I look over and there's an orange flat screen, and I was like, "When'd you get that?"
And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
And then it was
there
gone.
was another thing you saw too.
I saw the bubbles. They were like just colored like bubbles.
Yeah.
And then your boots that you wore all the time were going like across the floor. And I was in my head. I was like, these boots were made for walking. Like that's all I could think.
These boots were made
no,
for
but
walking.
talking in your sleep is such a weird phenomenon.
Didn't you tell me that
I talk in my sleep?
I
all
woke
the time.
you up, or
yeah,
and you're like, Liv, I need a Band-Aid.
Yeah. No, she woke me up for a Band-Aid, and I was like, okay. Because at the time, I was, like, super worried about you, because that was the same goddamn night, too, Claudia.
It was the same night?
It was the same night. Because I was worried as hell about you, and I was talking to
Eggs
about how fucking worried I was. I'm like, she doesn't drink any water, and she's, like, seeing
she's
shit.
dying.
Yeah, I'm, like, worried. So you woke me up, like, can I have a Band-Aid? So I was like, yeah. And I, like, went out to the kitchen and got you one. I didn't ask what for. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I was just concerned. And, like, we were, like, freshmen in high school.
Yeah, this was the first year that it was the winter that we first started hanging out.
That was long ago.
Yeah, that was
more than 5 years ago.
That was when Liv's computer was on the same side as the door, and her bed was in the middle, and she had the posts on her door. Or on her bed and stuff.
Naruto posters up.
And yeah.
That was that long
and
ago.
you had didn't you have a blue swivel chair?
Yeah,
I had a blue swivel chair, and I also had, that was when I had my
you had loft.
My loft bed. I had a loft bed.
Liv, tell the story about when when you asked your dad a math question in your sleep.
My gosh. So, yeah, sleep talking. I haven't, some people tell me that I talk in my sleep, some people don't. I think it just happens depending on, like,
the night.
What's running through my head at the time. I don't know. But sometimes I will hold conversations with people, and sometimes I'll just speak gibberish. Owen has a story of me speaking gibberish, too.
Do I?
Yeah, I'll remind you of it in a second. But you told me about it immediately when we woke up in the morning. I was like, I guess I was freaking out one night, and I just started yelling my dad's name. So naturally, my dad comes in worried that I'm just yelling for him. And he said I was sitting up, but my eyes were closed. I was just sitting up, and he was like, yeah, Liv? And I go, okay. And, like, put my hands up. I'm like, okay. And I just start rattling off this algebra equation. And I'm like, how do I do this? I need help. And Dad goes, go back to sleep, Liv. And I was like, no, this is so important.
Mrs. Sage's class.
I was younger than this, though.
Oh, were you?
So I think I was just stressed out about
Mrs.
math.
Sage.
I genuinely think a lot of oh my gosh.
Mrs. Sage, I forgot about
She's
that
a sweet lady that we will not
sweet
crucify
lady.
on this podcast.
Sweet lady.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the occasions I had. And then Owen told me a long time ago that I was just rattling off Pokemon.
Oh,
one day.
I remember
and
that.
Giraffes or something?
You got kicked by a giraffe.
Got
That's what it was.
You got kicked by a giraffe, and then what's the fucking
Pokemon.
I was talking about Pokemon.
Pink God Pokemon name?
Palkia?
I woke up in a restless night, as my 5-year-old self had many of.
Oh yeah, you were up.
I heard, dude, I never slept. Dude, I couldn't.
I sucked at sleeping when I was little.
I still suck at sleeping.
Oh no, dude, it's been happening again recently.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Well, like, it's not even like, I feel like, hold on, I'll get back to the dream, but like, you know how like, SpongeBob feels in Sandy's tank
Yeah.
without water.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like every night.
You need to start drinking water.
No, like I am. No, like I literally have one next to me
Okay,
all
good.
night, and I'm literally like downing it, and it's still. I feel like I need it.
Yeah.
And like, but anyways, I woke up, and you were like, I don't remember specifics, but you were just like, no, Palkia. And just like,
Dude,
like
I
they
was
almost
really
like you
into
were
Diamond
watching.
and Pearl.
It was almost like you were watching them die. You know?
I
It
was really into
great.
Platinum
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Diamond and Pearl, man. Those were my
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
No,
You wouldn't let me play anything else.
I've sleep talked
Because
a
you-
lot.
Liv, what are the sounds that I make when
Oh my god.
do you experience
Oh
this?
yeah.
You tried to
absolutely.
get up, and she goes.
Impossible to wake.
Dude, I literally would beat her with her stuffed animals
To wake me up. Yeah, when we were little.
Anytime you spent the night at our house, we literally have to like.
You have to like kill me.
beat you.
Okay, it's either
Or my
Kid.
mom.
I would just say it's
Mavis.
it's either a weekday and you guys have to wake me up, or it's a weekend and your mom's like, it's breakfast time. And I'm like, okay.
You know what's
So
funny
good.
about that?
2 eggs, please.
You know what's funny about that shit too?
Please.
My mom, every single time, she knows what the deal is. She knows it's not gonna work, but she's like, Liv, you need to get Claudia up. I'm like,
Why?
what do you
Listen,
expect
Mom.
me to do? It's
knows.
literally only you that works.
She's the only person who can wake me up.
She has the untapped power to wake the beast.
You know, like at the
I'm
like
come
at the
on.
end of the Last Airbender when Aang like presses his forehead.
It's like I
That's
literally,
her.
Yeah.
I literally like raised from the dead.
It's
When your
incredible.
mom
It's
calls.
I know, and you walk out like,
It's incredible.
I'm always like,
I've tried for years to master the
Only
ability.
she-
I can't.
you gotta like
just
talk to her
yells.
about.
Yeah.
she goes, Claudia, and you're like,
I'm up.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's because-
I'm in trouble.
And I think it's and no disrespect to Liv and I's mother, but she's very intimidating all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine if your mom came in and was like, Claudia, you gotta get up. And what if I was like, she would not have that.
she doesn't have it
She
ever.
has never
She
had
would
that.
never have that.
Dude. No, but yeah, Claudia, like, when she's sleeping, and she doesn't remember doing this, like, ever, but when she's sleeping and you, like, gently push her, she goes, mm-mm.
Well, yeah, like you tried to
Still
leave
do it all
too.
the
She would
time.
let
Oh,
you.
yeah, so,
And
like,
she was
You
like,
guys go to the bathroom.
get up to go to the bathroom, like, if you slightly shift the bed to, like, move, she goes, mm-mm. It's just, like,
you get. Well, I like how like your like sleep talking is just slight disapproval.
Slight disapproval. Just
Mm-mm.
disappointed.
that.
like a Nintendo
You should
character
just make
disagreeing.
I had this. This is complete.
Cooking mama.
Yeah.
I had this. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I completely just had. I had this shtick. It's completely unrelated, but for a while, I would only like. I was convincing my friends that this was like my serious rating scale. About I would rate forms of art equivalent to Garfield, Tale of Two Kitties, the movie,
What?
and I would be well, like they
What
don't.
does this have to do with
How did this
anything?
come into your head?
I have no idea, but I'm thinking about
Did
it.
you have a dream of
You're
that?
just like,
No.
lasagna.
No, but like I was like, no, I don't know why,
I had to take a
but I
break.
thought Garfield, like I
It
always
was real.
thought,
I thought he was real.
you know, I always
Garfield
thought,
is real, y'all. Come on.
I always thought Garfield was like just stupid and funny,
He is.
but for some reason, my senior year of high school, I thought it was like peak comedy. I only made Garfield jokes.
Was it kind of like a Shrek thing?
Well, no, not like that. Just like people go like, "What do you want for lunch?" And I go, "Lasagna," with a straight face. And then like,
It was my
what'd you
life.
think? What'd you think of Endgame? I mean, it was good, but not as good as Garfield Tale of Two Kitties. And like, kind of
it's
trailed
true.
off.
It's true.
And like, it got to a point where people were like, "Are you serious? Like, do you think that?"
Yeah, I do.
Do you
think
really
that.
feel
I
that?
really feel like that.
I'm trying to think of a strange encounter I've had. I keep thinking about like, I can't think of any sleep stories. But
I
keep
feel
think-
like
and
I
it's not
could not have any sleep stories about you guys because you always wake up before me.
Of course, because I left
I keep-
before you woke up the other day.
Yeah, I know. I woke up at like 1:30 and I was
Yeah.
like, oops.
I was out.
I keep thinking about a UFO story.
That's a different.
I know it's a different
podcast.
episode, but I just want to talk about it because I have nothing else to talk about. So you talked about this.
Me?
Yeah, you told us about it, and then 2 years later, I saw it. And
The lights in the sky? The two dots?
the two dots that are separating and moving?
The lights that separate
okay,
and
so
then come back?
So for context, Claudia, you can tell the story.
Okay, so started off with my friend,
Mm.
and she said every night she'd look out her window and see the same lights. They'd rise from the ground, and they would split and do like a pattern, come together, and then disappear.
Mhm.
She said she'd see it every night. And one night, she was over at my house with her parents, and because her parents were close to my parents, and we were sitting on the porch, like outside, and it was like nighttime, and she was like, there it is. It's right there. And we watched it. We saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you told us that story when we were at your house one night. It was me and Liv. And we were at your house, and I was like, that's fucking creepy. Hope I
Yeah.
see it one day. 2 years later. Not going to say it was on the exact date, although that would be
It was
awesome.
really around the time.
It was around that time. And I like, Liv texts me. And I don't know if she remembers this. I remember this vividly. But, she texts, I'm in my room. I don't know, playing, like, doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I
Hanging
hear,
out with your girlfriend.
and I remember, Liv texts me and she's like, you gotta come outside. And I'm like, why? And she's like, just come out.
You gotta see them.
And we go out into the driveway and Liv, I don't know if you remember this.
Remember the lights in
But
the
she's
sky?
like, you gotta come out and see this. And I'm like, why? And then you're like, it's the lights that Claudia told us about. I'm like, you're shitting me.
Oh, we're talking about the lights.
Yeah, we're
now?
talking about
This
the
is
lights.
So different
Yeah,
from dreams.
I know, but I
Alright.
can't think of any dream stories, so I started telling.
I have
And
plenty,
we
so
no,
we
but
can
we
go to
go
that
out.
next.
But I go out and like, we saw it. Do you remember
I do remember.
the lights? Yeah. I'm driving down that road. I'm going to something. It's kind of stormy, and I look up in the sky, and I'm like perfectly awake. It's like 5 o'clock, like p.m.
If you say the same
And-
thing that I think that you're gonna say, I might have a similar story.
I look up, and it's like cloudy. It looks like it's about to rain. But it's like, God, I don't know how to fucking describe it. Okay, it's very blurry up there, but it's I see it from like above the clouds, and it's a light. It's like a ball attached to something in a center, and it's like spinning around, like it's visibly like a ball of light spinning around in a perfect circle, almost like a generator to a ship. I don't want to say that. This is one of the few like UFO sightings I've had that I remember like picture perfect. Like I remember it clearly. Like I'd never been more scared driving.
It didn't look like a helicopter.
It did not look. No, it was bigger than. It was like the thing itself was big. Like
Oh, okay. So
it was
like-
bigger than a jet. It was huge. It was like
Was it high in the sky or was it low?
it was. It was above the clouds.
Okay.
It was above the clouds. Like I saw the light through the clouds, so I don't
If
know
it was
exactly
a
what structure.
helicopter and it was that
No,
low,
it wasn't
you
a.
would've heard it.
It wasn't a
So-
helicopter. It was. No. You don't understand. Like
No,
the
no,
clouds
I
are pretty
understand.
high
I'm
up,
trying to
right?
visualize
It was like I would say if I was close up to it, it would be like a mile wide. But it was crazy. It was almost. It's essentially just like God. I know what it looks like, and I can't say it. Like, okay, you know what? Picture. I took one of these disco balls,
Yep.
held it out like this, and spun around
Right.
like in a circle. That's the kind of motion it was. Like it was
Oh,
attached to
right.
something up
Right.
there.
Oh.
I was just
Like a
so.
tether ball.
I'm so like. I know it kind of sounds like I'm kind of losing my mind, but like it's just like that's like one of the first things in my life that I've like seen
That you can't.
and never. I don't know how to put it in the words.
Yeah.
It's so like perplexing and so like jarring. Like I can't like think of anything that I've ever seen in my life that's human or of this world to relate it to.
Okay.
Like it's something like
that
I've
makes sense.
like
it's-
you'd see it in a movie.
no, I've never seen it in a movie
Or
before.
it's something that
Like it's
You're
something.
having trouble describing it
It's
because
not
you've
like
never
a-
seen anything like
It's
it.
not a generic like alien movie thing that I would see. Like it's not like, you know how like
A UFO,
It's a
like
flying
a
saucer.
Like how-
saucer.
how, like,
or-
it's not. It's like it's nothing how like this is gonna sound really pretentious, but it's nothing how like any sci-fi author has ever made like any sort of aircraft or ship sound before. Well, wait, actually, you know what? Picture this. You know the Thanos ships in Infinity War?
Oh, yeah.
Picture that, but in the sky, except with a thing in the center and a ball of energy flying around the halo. That's essentially what I saw.
So
about
Thanos
that big.
Is gonna kill us, is what you're
I
telling
hope.
us. He's coming to splat.
He's coming to splat. Okay, off topic. Do you remember that thing from Drake and Josh? Where Drake's going skydiving?
Yeah.
And then he's like, here's the acronym. Squat, plant. I forget what A stands for. And I forget what the T stands for, but he's just like, that spells splat. Alright, anyways, that's it for my crazy alien story. You can.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've even when I'm talking about it, my heart starts like beating faster.
Yeah.
Like I've never been like so like.
See, that's how I felt
scared.
talking about the spider, because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so real.
It's so like.
So you
it's-
can feel like what it felt
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't explain it, so you can't really.
It's frustrating.
And I
you
didn't hear
You
anything.
did a good job explaining it. Once you said,
Mhm.
like, it's not like anything that you've seen
Yeah.
in anything, which is why you're having such a hard time describing it, I understood a little bit more, like, why you were stumbling so much over your words, because you were genuinely like, I don't know how to say this because I can't
Because you've
I
never
can't
relate
compare-
it to
I
anything.
can't compare it to
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Which makes me believe you a little bit more, to be honest, if you
Like
literally
I
can't
wish.
compare it to
I
anything.
so wish that you guys were like in my car to see it.
Yeah.
I wish I had someone there, and it sucks that I
See,
didn't.
I want to claim that I've seen a UFO, but I really haven't.
I haven't either.
I really wish I have.
Because
but-
you don't have anything like that.
Yeah,
or
I mean, the
something?
one
Yeah.
thing is what I thought is what we saw.
The
I
light.
don't
Yeah.
remember that, but I believe that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the time too, like I feel like I'm also like I feel like there's people who are desperate to see something.
Mm-hmm.
So the slightest thing that seems weird, they're like, holy shit. Like
Makes
I remember
sense.
I got really excited once because it was really cloudy and sometimes you know how the clouds hang super low, so you can see how they're like moving and shifting and stuff.
Yeah.
There's spotlights in Nashville, and it was kind of foggy. So the spotlights were moving on the clouds, and it looked weird as hell. And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Do you remember?
They looked like spotlights above the clouds, like searching.
Yeah.
and shit. I was
Yeah.
like,
Do you remember
"What is
that thing that happened in Los Angeles in the sky that military claimed it was a missile test, but looks nothing like a missile test?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Recently or
No, it was like a year ago or something.
That's
And
Oh,
like
yeah.
everyone was fucking
Similar to the
filming
Phoenix
it.
Lights.
It was.
the thing.
It was like it
in the-
looked like a meteor, but like
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. And
I
that's-
still am.
Oh no.
That's
That's
bizarre.
not a missile. There's no way that could have been.
Well, they said the Phoenix Light were jets.
That's also.
They
And
said-
they
bullshit.
also said they were
They said there were strange weather patterns.
weather balloons too. They said they were flares attached to weather balloons. That the
They named.
nearby airbase was testing. Or
They
something
called it like
that.
5 different things.
Yeah, they
No,
changed
yeah,
their
and that's-
story like 6
It is
different
like
times.
it is like the Phoenix Lights, where like you can't. It's the fact that they changed the story.
Well, and I remember when that happened because so many
Mhm.
people took a picture of it.
Yeah,
And
there's
you see
tons
machine
of pictures
That's
of
one
it.
of the first UFO events or anything like that. That actually-
for real.
That's like actually has like decent footage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
of
for
what
real
you've seen.
evidence.
Yeah, no, like that's and like I could tell like that's when the military government are like, fuck,
They're like shit. Yeah.
we don't know what that is.
See, 'cause-
Missiles.
So then, if they take the pictures down, obviously it's something.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to like let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about people saying like, well, no, if this was real, there would be more action against it. No, they're trying to hide that because if you're exactly right, if they were to take action,
If they made a
like,
big deal of
made
it,
a big deal, and that
Then, yeah.
people's suspicions would be
Mhm.
higher because it's like, you know,
why would they
people
let
trusting
images
the
like
government
that
right
be
now
leaked?
is already an issue.
Yeah. Why if
So-
it was something, then they wouldn't let it be
Any
leaked.
move
So
like
it's
that, everyone would be
nothing.
like, fuck, we're right, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Everyone's so sensitive about conspiracy right now. It's like, which
Yeah,
is really, I find that interesting too. That people are getting more and more sensitive about conspiracy
Mhm.
information.
Mhm.
Some of it obviously is dangerous
Yeah.
and provoking and causing like unnecessary
Trouble.
violence. But like even small things like aliens and this is an alien. Some people are like, no, you can't say that. Like it's kind of wild to me. That's another
Mhm.
podcast for another time. But how sensitive people become to conspiracy in general, minus the, you know,
And it's
extreme shit, just in general, like harmless conspiracy theories that are just fun to believe and fun to play into. Some people are
Like
like
the
getting
Chuck E.
too
Cheese
serious
one, that's
about
fun.
it. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
like it's fun to not buy into
Imagine.
everything you're told.
Right.
You know, for once, like, expand your goddamn mind and, like, think about something, even if it's, you know, even if you're like, that's not true. Like, just think about the possibility that someone questioned something for once.
Something
Yeah.
different.
You know?
They had a different
Something
thought.
different.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Like Rick and Morty.
Like, I question my dreams and getting, you know, we can work in UFOs into this, actually.
Yeah.
People have dreams about their abductions, and their dreams actually turn out to be
There we
visuals of their
go.
abductions. I had a wild dream that I'm going to try to describe.
Liv,
It
were
is
you
very
abducted?
difficult. It's very difficult to describe, and I told our high school science teacher about it, because she was just a really fun lady to talk to,
Ew.
and we talked about dreams sometimes. I told her, and she just looked at me straight up and said, "You were abducted."
Who?
And I was like, "Cool."
You never
Mrs.
told me
Roberts.
this dream, but I remember you telling me about that.
Okay, so I'll tell you
I
it
didn't have
now,
Mrs.
because it's just the most bizarre thing ever. So I have dreams. My dreams are, sometimes I just don't want to talk about them straight up because of how vivid and gruesome and violent they can be. Just, like, in the weirdest ways, like, grotesque. Not just gruesome, like, not just constantly bloody, gory violence. Like,
But like
they're
bizarre things.
grotesque and bizarre to the point where I'm like, I don't want to talk about this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, just wild stuff. Like, I had a dream that, you know how you almost got hit by a car when you were a kid?
No. Oh yeah.
He's
I
like,
remember.
what?
I ran in
Maybe
front of
you
that
were
Right,
truck.
and you just
almost
forgot.
right in
Yeah,
front of that truck.
Mhm.
He almost got hit by a car. It freaked me out because I was, like, yelling out. I was being an annoying big sister and be like, stay away from the
And
road,
see,
stay
my
away from
thing
the road."
was, I see tricycle across the road.
Yeah. And this car came flying like 50 miles an hour. If he wouldn't have stopped, he probably would have gotten killed by it. I had a dream that, like,
I
a
would've
car,
never
and
gotten
this
to
is
see Ram
awful.
Ranch.
I'm sorry in advance, this is really awful. I
You're
had a
gonna
dream once at a
obliterate it.
young age. It was a reoccurring dream that I would have on the occasion that was awful, where I couldn't move in the dream, and Mom couldn't either, and there was a crowd of people watching a car slowly run over you as you were screaming.
Holy shit.
I'm not kidding you, dude. I've had, like, the worst dreams ever, when they're just so, like,
Whoa,
vivid
dude.
and, what's the word? There's another V word I'm thinking of, but they're just so visceral and intense that I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a tangent, but just to
That
show
was
the,
a
like,
reoccurring dream?
yeah, I had that dream several times.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. But
Nice,
just to show, like, the
Yeah,
veracity.
it's all-
What?
It's
I
not
sneezed.
his
Am I
fault.
not allowed to
It
sneeze?
was just like, I think my dreams are based off of, like, my anxieties and shit,
Yeah.
and they're just amplified to, like, the 10th power. But this is an example of a variety of dreams that I just have that are just, like, I call them, like, free-falling for me, because sometimes I write, like, little dream journals, and I call these free-falling dreams.
Girl. She really likes
I was gonna
horses.
go there.
Just because they feel like I'm just floating through them almost sometimes. They're just weird scenarios that I feel like I'm just kind of like, alright, this is happening. Sometimes I'm not me. Sometimes I am a character or just in someone else's body. This UFO dream where my teacher was like, you were abducted. Imagine, like, bright neon yellow, green, pinks in, like, a futuristic city. And it's maybe, like, just about to be, like, sundown, alright? So, like, it's a building and all the windows are, like, neon colors. So every light shining in is kind of like a neon color. And the floor's white. I was this burly, like, I'm thinking, like, Rambo type character.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm greasy and sweaty and I've got, like, just massive pecs and, like,
You're just ripped.
like,
I remember
cargo pants.
I remember looking down
And,
thinking,
like, I've got
got
one of those
massive
belts
pecs.
across
Oh.
with
You're
just,
like-
no, I remember my pecs being, like, fucking huge, and I was like, damn, I'm like,
Ripped.
I wasn't thinking about the character, I was just like,
look
this
at
is me.
yourself and go.
I had accepted that character was me, so I wasn't studying him, I just knew, I observed, this is my body, like, this is who I am
Was
right
Kronk's
now.
voice? Oh yeah.
I don't remember the voice. There was someone in there who was fighting someone with me. I don't know who we were fighting, but we all had, like, semi-automatic guns, and we were fighting someone. And up in the middle of this tower where all these windows were, there was this, like, it was like a chrome, like, capsule. And in the middle of the capsule, there was, like, a naked woman just, like, stretched out like this, and she was spinning inside of the capsule. I looked up at it briefly, and then my teammate got shot, and then these fucking, like, this is gonna start sounding really fucking weird, but chrome, like, tentacle type things started coming out of the thing and, like, throwing us farther away from I guess we were trying to get to the capsule thing for whatever reason, but they were just pushing us farther away, and I remember getting pushed farther away by these things, and I shot one, and it, like, squealed like I guess the Kraken would in Pirates of the Caribbean, and, like, flipped around, and they got pissed and hit me, and it caused my, like, arm to split, and just blood went everywhere. Ugh. But my blood was, like, also kind of chrome-like. So when it hit the glass, it was really shiny.
Metallic?
Yeah, it was metallic almost. And then we pissed it off, whatever it was. So it started dragging us towards it. And I remember just, like, really dramatic movie style, like, getting dragged by one foot towards it and shooting it. And the whole tower shut down. And it was really weird because even though it was, like, daytime out, all the lights disappeared. All the colors disappeared. It just was, like, black. And it went, like, noir suddenly. So there was a bit of white light that was coming through the windows, but that was it. And we were still fighting this thing in the dark. And it was just, like, that's all I remember, that dream.
That's dope.
And blood and everything. And it was that vivid and wild. And, like, I told that dream to Mrs. Roberts, and she was just like, you got abducted.
You definitely got abducted.
And I was like, cool, because that's what it feels like. I mean, and, like, I'll have dreams where, like, they're so visually striking and just, like, memorable like that, where I'll just think about it for weeks on end.
You better copyright that shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I never forget that shit either. That happened in, like,
wild.
my junior year.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't forget shit like that, you know? Because it's like, why the fuck did that enter my brain?
When you had two different... I
have dreams that are different in... fuck. I gotta talk about one dream I had recently that was the weirdest shit ever.
Do you remember in freshman year, you had the dream that there was a shooter in the school, and you had the dream twice, and it ended differently?
Yeah.
It was the same dream,
but
ended differently.
Yeah, I'll talk about that briefly and not go, like, too much into detail, because we have a lot of, like, personal, like, I don't know.
People in
those dreams. But that was around a time where someone was actually threatening to shoot up our school. So I think that's what prompted that. Do you remember that?
I remember there was a bomb threat at West.
That might have been it. I think that might have been what prompted the like, shooter aspect. There was, like, bomb threats at the high school. But we were in the freshman building, which was separate from the high school for whatever reason. But one of them was, like, The Last of Us.
You told me about that one.
Yeah.
And we were in the science...
I remember one specific thing you told me about because it was 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, I remember, it was at the freshman building.
Yeah, in the auditorium.
You were in the auditorium and you heard a clicker.
Yeah.
And you were hiding in there.
That's when we had to go get... This happened for real.
Yeah, I remember the light flickering and stuff.
This happened for real.
What Nims told you guys.
You forgot your purse or your book bag at lunch.
My binder, dude.
In that room.
The auditorium, for context, in our old high school building was the scariest shit ever.
I hate that place.
It was always dark unless someone was in there.
Yeah, no, the auditorium was terrifying.
We're talking about the freshman building, right?
Yeah, and Liv and I had to go in there. After she had the stream, we had to go in there and find her binder in the dark.
Yeah, so I already had this dream. Basically, the dream was... It was The Last of Us. If you haven't played the game, there are points in The Last of Us where you have to slowly sneak around these zombies because you can't alarm them or they will kill you. So it was that, but in the auditorium, and we had to get out of the auditorium from up in the bleachers and just, like, swerve in between the seats and shit to get away from them. And there were bloaters in there too. Yeah, it was just zombie hell in there, and we were trying to get to the door without being noticed. And, like, my choir teacher was there, and, like, other people that we know were in there too.
I think I was there with.
Yes, I don't know, but, like, anyways, so after having that dream, we had to go
into that dark
auditorium and pick that up, and I think a janitor was in there or something.
Scared the
living shit out of us, because oh my god.
We sprinted out of there
Well, he was up in the bleachers and a light just came on, and we were like, fuck, and we, like, ran, but it was so scary, dude.
That was really scary.
My heart, like, went into my throat.
I just remember only seeing the exit sign. The red exit sign was the only light in there.
Yeah.
It was the red exit sign.
You were, like, freaking out. You were like, hurry up. I'm like, I know where it is. And I had my little phone flashlight, and I was looking for it.
So scary.
And then we both looked up and saw that, and, like,
I remember.
The other dream
Oh yeah.
that was like similar wasn't The Last of Us related. It was just a very violent dream about a school shooting, and it was just wild. But I feel like that's a common dream that some people have. But mine was just.
You had to either pick between it was like me and
yeah.
friend or me and a teacher or.
Both of my friends were
I was
bleeding
like
out,
patching
bleeding
somebody
out and
up.
shit.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
It was. We were stuck in our science room, so it was convenient enough where we had stuff to like patch people up so they didn't bleed out. But like it was terrifying.
The shooter was in that room.
Oh yeah, they were like threatening us too, and it was scary. But yeah, that was a wild dream. But I want to talk about the dream I had recently. It's not too far, and then someone else can talk about their dream if they've had a wild
I have
one
that I've been thinking about, but if anyone else wants to go.
This is just a crazy one. So I'll have these dreams too, where if I don't finish them, it's not that I want to finish them either. These dreams are like, alright, that was just fucking weird and I don't want to go back into that universe again. Yeah. But I end up doing it to finish off the dream. I had a dream that maybe ran for like 2 months, story-wise. Yeah. I know that sounds stupid and crazy, but like, and it doesn't mean like every night I'd have the same dream that would continue, but like, it took me 2 months to finish consecutively the story of this dream. I had a dream that I was part of a, like, psych ward. Only female psych ward. Probably Sucker Punch inspired.
Well, I was
a
like
little
Sucker
bit.
Punch.
But the ward was on a cloud. So it was like, the ward was like dark and depressing and like decrepit, but outside the ward it was just like puffy pink, like everything around it was like soft and like that.
Like
but we weren't allowed out. We were stuck
Okay.
inside the ward, but we could see only glimpses of what that looked like, and everyone wanted to get out because we were trapped in there. And they literally kept us in cages. It was constantly wet in there. All the the ground was like damp and wet and stuff. And I only remember flashes of this dream, so it was a really weird dream where it wasn't super consecutive. So like I didn't have this narrative or whatever like some of my other dreams, but I would like flash in between like visions.
Sorry,
I'm thinking of
I'm thinking of Wendy.
Like Wendy's.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. Good.
So, like, I don't remember who was in the dream. I just remember running around. And I remember being younger than I am. Like, all the women there seemed a lot younger, like young teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a hot minute, but I just remember it took a while to finish that dream. But finally, I finished that dream. And it was just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, we were getting out. Like, it happened so quickly. And we were running and running. And then I remember we had to cross this bridge before they shut the gates, and we all made it over, but the next step, and they were chasing us, whoever, like, the guards were and shit, they were chasing us, and we had to climb down. It was like a Jack and the Beanstalk type shit, where we had to go into the clouds and just trust that we wouldn't fall and, like, die. And, I remember there were angels, like, floating around. I know you're looking at me like, what the fuck, Liv? There were, like, angels and shit, like, floating around and stuff, and some girls were jumping onto the angels to, like, help them fall down, but they were, like, cherubs, so they were, like, there's no way they're gonna be able to carry these girls, so they were, like, struggling and shit, because the girls would jump on them and grab their feet, and they'd be like, fucking, you can tell they were, like, struggling to, like, hold them. They just, I was too afraid to do that. I was like, no, that's terrifying, so I climbed down, and I just remember, like, disappearing into the pink clouds and hearing someone, like, I couldn't see them, but I could hear of them coming after me and just freaking out and climbing backwards, like, down fast as you can is scary. And I slipped a few times, and I could never see this person, but I just remember the anxiety of hearing them coming after me and feeling the ladder tempting shake.
Worse.
It was awful.
That was
awful. I made it out, and we were in this, like, grassy plain, and the clouds were all still pink. That was just an unchanging thing. It was just pink clouds everywhere, and we all got out. And then something blew up in the sky. We were all just like, wow. And it blew up, and that was the end of that dream. I'm like, thank God. I'm never going back to that goddamn dream. I don't want to have it again. It's really weird.
Damn.
Yeah. Weird ass dream.
So do you guys want to share anything? Because I have one.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But I've shared a lot. Okay. So this is kind of short. I had this one dream when I was like 7 or 8. I don't remember all of it, but there's 2 little snapshots that I have never forgotten. Basis of the dream, from what I can piece together, I was running from like this elongated clown demon. I don't know, I hate clowns. I mean, that's a common fear, but I fucking hate clowns. So I was running from like this it didn't look like Pennywise. It was essentially just Ronald McDonald,
Just a clown.
But Slender Man with really long purple claws and big teeth on face. It was and no also no eyes. Big just black holes.
Fuck.
And I remember like only looking back, like the only image I have of him is him like running towards me and he's really close and it's like an image of like it's a shot of me like looking back. And then the
so
other
you saw
image
yourself looking back?
No.
Okay,
Like
you
it's
saw
from
him.
first person,
Okay.
but like that's what the shot was, like me like looking back and him like gaining on me. And the other shot, I don't know what. I feel like this one has to mean something, but I don't know what. I think that then was just like, yeah, fucking I'm scared of clowns. But this is different, and I don't know what to think of it. It's pitch black, right? I can feel myself running, but like I can't see anything until like everything else is still pitch black. But I start seeing like kind of grass fading in, almost like I've got a flashlight, and then a playground comes up.
Was it our playground?
No. I've
Different
never
playground?
seen this playground before in
Okay.
my life. Like I don't, which is weird because in dreams you can only like see stuff that you've seen in real life.
I question that.
Well, I do too, but
It's
like
faces.
at the same time.
You can't see you can't make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I've never seen a fucking full.
That's true. I
castle.
forgot that you just told that story.
No, but continue.
But I've never seen this playground, and in this it was like there's one of those domes, and there's like a big like castle slide thing.
Mhm.
Not like the castle wooden playground, but like one of those just small like castle slides, and it's like perfectly like symmetrical, and in between it, it's almost like straight out of an N64 game. But it was the most scared I've ever been. This like ghost like floating face, kind of like floating there, like how you would like someone literally put like a Sony Vegas like effect on it lightly.
Oh yeah.
With it was like staring at me. Like just like straight face, like black holes for eyes, but there's like little red dots in there, and then I just see it kind of smile. I don't know. This kind of sounds like bullshit, I know, but like I start like feeling like almost like it's like crushing me, like not even like crushing me. Like I feel like my bones like getting thinner, and I feel like myself like folding,
Ooh.
and then I wake up.
That's
And
wild.
I was like 7. I've never forgotten that. I don't know. I feel like the clown, again, I feel like I'm just fucking afraid of clowns and I'm chasing it.
But that's
I don't-
bizarre.
It's almost like I can't stop it, but like feel like it has meaning. I don't know, but like what could happen in my life or have happened? I don't know. Maybe it's a future prediction of something. Maybe like not like that exactly, but
No,
what if it's like something like what if it's like symbolism? You know what I mean?
It was Sans.
It was sad.
No, but here's the thing, everything, the playground was ultra realistic, but like
Oh, that was the only thing.
the thing was, it looked like it was from Undertale.
It was like
That's
pixelated and
wild.
stuff.
It was like it looked like Flowey's like evil face almost,
Oh,
except it was
fuck,
just
yeah.
the face, no flower on it, and it was just kind of like floating in between.
Okay.
But it was so like playground, like slide on this side, dome over here, kind of grass around it, face in the middle.
I have a dream. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna.
But I remember for some. Wait, sorry, I'm not done. I'm sorry. I'm tired. That came out way meaner than I thought it would
Oh,
be.
that's okay.
I remember like when it smiled, like running towards it by choice, almost like I was gonna fight it.
Oh.
But then I started like feeling that,
Gosh.
and then I woke up.
Okay.
I don't know why I forgot that detail. But
That's what I was wondering, if you stopped or you kept going.
well, like no, like I was running, like I stopped, and then he smiled, and then I
Ran at him.
ran at him.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is bold of me.
Yeah.
To
Bold
say
of
the
7-year-old Owen.
Bold
Yeah,
of 7-year-old me to
totally.
run at my apparition.
When I was younger, I used to be able to. What's it called when you can control your dreams?
Lucid dream.
Lucid
I
dream.
always
Lucid.
wanted to.
When
I
Lucid
never
dream.
lucid
When
dream.
I was
I've
little,
always wanted
I
to
used
too.
to do it all the time.
I know people who can do it
I-
just by choice.
Yeah, I used to be able to be like, oh, I'm in a dream. Now I can do whatever I
Yeah.
want. And my favorite ones is I could turn myself into a dragon. And, like, I was, like, this big, like, fire dragon. And everyone was, like, trying to... It was, like, medieval, right? Like, castles and shit. And I remember I escaped from like a dungeon, and I was really like pissed off that they kept me there. So I started like flying around this city, and I remember the people were real tiny because I was big as fuck, and I remember just like blowing like fire on everything, and I could control everything, and it was the coolest. I used to have dreams like that all the time, where I was a dragon and I could fly and I could do whatever I wanted, and I can't do it anymore. I used to do it all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. Like, I know there's steps to ensure you can lucid dream or whatever. I can never fucking do it. I tried.
What?
I just remember when I was a horny 14-year-old, just my search history was riddled with how to lucid dream so it can get dick sucked. Or something similar to that. But I was a horny 14-year-old.
Have you
and I think that's hilarious
a
now.
lucid sex dream?
But I was so like
Nope, not get into it.
I was gonna say, I have some weird ass.
I've got some weird
Okay.
dreams.
I have a dream that you reminded me of. It's short, but it's another weird one. Something else I noticed about
Is
my
it about-
dreams. No, it's
Okay.
You made me think. You said black eyes with like red dots, and it made me think.
oh
of
yeah,
something
like
from my
like
dreams.
the pits.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
So, like, something I noticed about my dreams that are kind of my weird dreams are that I have a subconscious in them. So, like, for instance, I was in our kitchen, not our kitchen, our dining room, like, talking to Dad or something, or, like, you. It was very casual, and I was me for once. But for whatever reason, I decided to look out the window, and it was nighttime. And by the creek, by the trees, there was a fuzzy, small, black thing with red eyes. And I wanted to go get it.
No.
Even though it was dark. And my subconscious, even though I had made the decision in the dream that I was going to go do this, my subconscious was like, why would she do that? And I was like, so I had that subconscious the entire time, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I went and did it anyways. So I walk out there, it's quiet, crickets are chirping, orange street lights. You know, leaves are cracking with the egg. It's like August or something. Summer night. Walk over there, it's quiet, and I bend down, pick up this thing. You know those little things you find by the river that are like not too sharp? Like if you hold them at the right angle, they're kind of soft. But like if you hold them at the wrong angle, they're kind of
I know
pointy.
what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like that, but it was about maybe the size of like
All I was imagining was like
a
a
rat
black
or a
chinchilla
hamster.
with like red eyes.
Yeah, no, it's about maybe that
I'm
size
thinking
actually.
of like an Ewok.
Actually, you know those little Neopets that were just fuzzballs?
Yeah.
Well, it was like that without feet, and it just had like holes for eyes with red dots. And I looked at it and I held it like this, and I just like stared into its eyes like I was in a trance. I couldn't move suddenly when I was holding it, and then I remember its like fuzzy spike things went into my hands, and it hurt really bad. And then all of a sudden my hands felt really prickly and like pins and needles.
Did your hands fall asleep?
And then it started shaking, and like I don't know what the fuck was doing, and then I woke up.
Were your hands asleep when you were?
I think
woke
so.
Up?
I don't remember, but that would make sense.
That could have been a very plausible
That's
thing.
like, silly dream I had. I think I told you. I thought I had a dream where I got tattoos.
Yeah.
And your arm was
And
asleep?
I woke up within my dream and was like, oh, I have them still, shit. And then I woke up again. My friend's dog had, like, scratched my shoulder and bruised it. So it kind of was, like, a little sore. Like, it would be after you get a tattoo. And I was like, fuck. And I kept thinking, like, I actually got these tattoos, and, like, in my dream, I had woken up from worrying about getting the tattoos in a dream, and woken up in my mom's and my parents' house. My parents are not cool about tattoos, and I was, like, trying to hide my shoulder and be like, hey, Mom, what's up? What's up? But I woke up anyways, but what time are we at, Claudia?
We are at 1:20.
Alright, we can tell a few more stories, and we can make a part 2 of this, because I feel like we could talk about dreams forever.
My mom had woken me up for school one morning, and, like, this is real. She's like, Claudia, like, it's 7 or whatever, you gotta get up and get ready. And I was like, yeah, like, 5 more minutes. So I closed my eyes, right? And you obviously, when you do that, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna close my eyes, but I'm not gonna go to sleep. Yeah. And you end up falling back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and in my dream, I could hear my mom yelling for me. She's like, Claudia, like, get up. And I was like, I'm up. And I had, like, gotten ready for school in my dream. And in my dream, my mom was still yelling at me, like, Claudia, you have to get up. I'm like, I'm up. I'm ready for school. And then I woke up, and I was, like, 20 minutes late.
Oh, man.
There was another another incident kind of like that. My mom was waking me up, and in my dream, I was telling my brother a story. And I woke up telling this story to my mom. Like, she woke me up, and I was like, and then she wore these pants to school. And my mom was like, what? And I was like, she wore the pants to school. And my mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I had finished my sentence as I was waking up from my dream.
Dude, I've done that before. Have you ever... Oh my god. I've had really sad dreams where, like, they're dreams that you don't want to leave. And they're so good. And I go to talk to someone in my dream, and I say it as I'm waking up.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want to go back.
I've had those dreams and I almost cried.
Yeah, I've had dreams that have almost made me cry because, like, I'm about to say something in my dream, and then I wake up and say it, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's not real.
I had a dream that when we would talk to Eggs all the time, I had a dream that he had, because we were supposed to buy him a plane ticket and get him here. And I dreamed that we actually did. And I woke up and I was so disappointed because it was so real. And we were having so much fun and playing like video games and all this, like, we had like an entire day in this dream. And I woke up and I was like, oh, like disappointed.
Oh man.
I think to close us out, you need to tell that story about the dream you had on the mountain.
Mountain dream.
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
don't know if you told me about the mountain dream.
That fucking
Real quick,
weird.
I have a question. Do any of you? But yeah, I want to hear this. But like, I've been thinking about this. Do you guys ever like have transitions in your dreams where like you're yourself, but then there's a point in the dream where like you transition into like being another character or a person almost?
I've
All
had
the time.
similar
I have
ones
that a
where
lot.
Jack will transform into you. And like I'm
where
hanging out
people
with
are
Jack,
different, yeah.
and then
Gotcha.
it's like Liv the next second. Yeah.
With that, for some reason I'm just thinking of the thing from iCarly, where like someone's kissing someone, but they can't. They keep turning into Gibby.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
It's like, what's wrong, Freddy?
No, it's Spencer trying to kiss his girlfriend, but they keep
Dude.
turning into
That's
Gibby.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, tell the mountain story.
Yeah, mountain
Okay,
story.
this can be the closing. So
This fucks me up.
yeah, and the weird part about it is that my mom, the same night at the same time, had a similar experience.
Oh, yeah.
So I had this dream that I was sitting on the side of a mountain, and I was looking into like a mountain valley, and there was like a sunrise coming up. It was sunrise. I remember like distinctly sunrise, not sunset. So like the sun was coming up and like the rays were shining out. Super like beautiful, picture perfect. But I wasn't in. It was third person and I was like behind me. So I was like sitting looking out. So I was looking at my back. And there were 4 people on each side of me sitting next to me. But I didn't know who they were. Like I don't know who these people were. And I distinctly remember them having different colors. Like one person was wearing like all pink and all light blue and all light green. And they were like very like springy, like light colors. And so it kind of starts off like that. And just like me looking behind myself. And then I'm inside my body looking, like now it's first person. And I say, is anybody there? And this huge booming voice says yes. And I was like, well, Papa Don, is that you? Asking if it was my grandpa.
Papa Squat.
Papa Squat,
Squat.
is this you, homie?
Sorry.
So I was like, Papa Don, is it you? No, it says. Huge booming voice. No. And I was like, okay, then who are you? And like, this is where it makes no sense. Because I have never been to church. Not religious at all. Never even opened the Bible. Huge booming voice said, I am God. Super loud. And it was saying a sentence. I don't remember after that. It was like surround sound. Like, you know, in like a Dolby theater, it's like just everything's like vibrating around you.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. But I woke up with like...
Oh my God.
What?
up a topic that I want to talk about at some point, but not right now.
Oh, damn. Oh, my God.
Oh my god.
You know what happened, Jay?
No.
This controller fell on
Oh
Tim.
my God.
It fell on
Jumped the goddamn mic.
Damn. Okay.
Damn.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so I woke up with like shooting pains going up and down my whole body, like electricity, and I was like awake, or I was like when I had woken up, I could still hear the voice talking to me, but I don't remember what it said. And so I was like, after like the electricity in my body like settled down, I was like, Jesus Christ, that was the craziest fucking dream I've ever had in my life. So the next day, I was like, Mom, I gotta tell you this dream that I had. And I had woken up, it was around 3 in the morning, the time that I had woken up. I was like, I had this whack, crazy dream, never had a dream like it before. And so I was like, it was like 3 in the morning, and I told her the story. And well, my mom, her and I are like total night owls, so we'll be up all hours of the night. She was awake, laying on the couch in the in like the living area by the kitchen, watching TV. Or she had put on just like soft music and she was like closing her eyes. And around 2 or 3 a.m., she had this like, she said she had this like overwhelming feeling of like warmth and happiness just out of the blue all of a sudden. And the first thing that came into her mind was, obviously, God is the answer. My mom's not religious at all. Like, I don't think she grew up going to church. Nothing like that. Never talked about it to us as kids or anything like that. So, for us, the same night, to have a similar situation, similar dream or whatever, is super weird.
Yeah.
Super weird.
That's insane.
And then
That is weird.
I ended up talking to this friend of ours who ended up like thinking that it was like very serious.
Yeah.
And that was one of the craziest dreams I've ever had in my life.
That sounds really
That
wild,
is
dude.
wild.
I want to say that I've had a dream where I've like talked to God or whatever, but like I don't remember. I feel like I remember something like that. You know what I mean?
I wish I could say that, but then I'd just be like, nah, I was just falling asleep to the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Honey, if I
Like the
thought
holy
I'd
hand
talk
grenade.
to
You're like,
dogs.
Dog, is that you? Alright, is that it? Are we done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up.
All right,
Yeah.
I feel
next
like-
episode,
Yeah. I feel
ghost stories?
like maybe, I don't know.
See,
We'll
We
we'll
covered
put-
that.
We'll fill
partially.
you in on
Not really. Partially, we could do a whole different thing on like specifically like not like UFOs, but like paranormal stuff.
We could fill it in. I mean,
Yeah.
Halloween's coming up, but we'll
In
keep
a
you
couple
posted.
months.
We'll keep you
Every day's
posted
Halloween around here.
Yeah.
on what our next episode topic is going to be, but we'll definitely do a part 2 of this if you guys are interested, because I feel like I have a lot more weird dream stories I could tell, and like I feel like the more we talk about it, the more we think about dreams we've had in the past. So thank you guys for listening. Please share your weird dreams with us, or if you've had similar experiences to any of us, that'd be something that'd be really interesting to hear if someone's had a similar experience like Claudia's weird alien closet friend, or
Friend.
or my weird vivid abduction dreams. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. It is very late. Have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. Goodbye.